Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this webinar, Activate Your Goals and Your Vision. A goal should scare you a little and excite you a lot. That's a quote from Vince Lombardi. I'm no Vince, I'm Mel Dostromedios, and I'm going to be taking you through the webinar today. So I'm very excited today to share with you some tips and strategies to activate your goals into reality. Well, we all know that January has come and gone, and with it, maybe those things that you wanted to do differently, maybe those things that you wanted to go after. Well, I guess I'm here to say that it's not too late. In fact, you know what? Everything is going exactly according to plan. And with focus, a bit of persistence, you can achieve your goals. So welcome to the webinar. I hope you guys enjoy this, and thank you very much for coming along. So why this webinar? Well, it's about setting off a bit of a spark. So we want to set off a sudden force of motivation in you that's going to kick things into goal. We're going to talk about the language to use for big thinking. We're going to uncover your natural gifts and when to use them. We're going to define what true success means and identify the link between your gifts and your customers' needs. Now, that's no small feat. It's a lot to do in a short amount of time, but we are going to go for it. So who am I? I'm Mel Dostromedios. I'm a speaker, facilitator, coach, CEO, and owner of Personal Training Academy, and I currently reside in the beautiful Bondi Beach in Sydney, Australia. So I just wanted to share with you an experience that I first had with regards to goal setting. So I first came across the power of goal setting probably about 20 years ago in my pursuit to become a professional fitness competitor. Now, a lot of people probably don't realize what that is. But back in the day, it's similar to body sculpting. However, back in the day, we had to do these like really challenging anaerobic 90-second routines with one-arm push-ups and backflips. So it's kind of ridiculous now that I think about it. I saw it on TV and I thought, you know what, I can do that. So I entered my first local comp and really enjoyed it. I placed third. And later I learned that, hey, you know what, this could actually become a profession. I could become professional at this gig. So very few women had achieved that. And everyone told me that it was impossible. Look, it's too competitive. You don't have enough gymnastics experience. There's no way. Blah, blah, blah. So a lot of naysayers, which I'm sure you probably encountered when you want to achieve your goals. So, well, that spurred me on even more. In fact, it pushed me even further. Now, the challenge was that I'd never actually competed in anything in my life. So I didn't play team sports. I didn't know how to compete. And I didn't know how I was going to accomplish this. Now, this is when I first came across a book, which maybe you guys have heard of, called The Psychology of Winning. The Psychology of Winning. So the author of that was Dennis Waitley. So perhaps you guys have heard of him. Dennis Waitley. Okay. Sorry, just a little technical issue there. So that book was actually published in 1979. And this was my first introduction to the power of your thoughts, your beliefs, and having a little bit of focus. So at that time, I had to alter my thinking about what was possible. I became what you would call obsessed. I visualized every morning myself turning pro, and I visualized every night myself turning pro. And I got very crystal clear about what it meant to do to be pro. I saw myself on the stage. I saw myself winning. I saw myself getting that medal. So eventually, lo and behold, I did find myself on the stage in Las Vegas, Nevada, standing there and receiving that medal, being chosen as a professional out of hundreds of competitors. And it was quite an interesting experience because I did it. I turned pro. Now, a couple of things happened in that moment. So the first thing that happened in that moment was I thought to myself, is this it? Is this all there is? All the planning and visualizing and training and dedication and all the food that I gave up. Is this what I'm doing? I'm standing here getting this medal. And in that moment, I kind of realized that it really had nothing to do with getting the medal. It had nothing to do with actually turning pro. But what I learned in that moment was about that journey that I'd gone on of self-discovery, of dedication, of commitment, of discipline, of focus. And that was really, it was really more about going after it than getting it. And I guess in that moment, I realized that that's the important thing, the joy of progress, the joy in going after it. So that was kind of an interesting experience. The other thing which was interesting in that one moment was that in order to turn professional for this particular competition, you have to place 1 and 2 in the nation. Now, in all of my visualization and all of my practicing of being successful in that competition, I'd only visualized turning pro. I hadn't actually visualized winning. And guess what? I placed second. So that was kind of interesting. So then, what would have happened if I aimed just that little bit higher? So that's really what some of my learnings have been around goal setting, around achievement. And that was very early on. And I've achieved a lot of goals since then. And I've also had a lot of challenges and maybe missed the mark a few times. But I'm guessing that the people who, in fact, I know for a fact, a lot of people on this call have achieved some amazing things. So you've done it. You've achieved it. Now maybe have a think about what is one of the proudest moments or your proudest achievements. How did you do it? What were you doing? How did you go about it? What tools did you use? So you can achieve your goals. You've proven it to yourselves already, but now it's about taking some action. So the key points of this webinar, we want to get really clear on what your goals and vision are. We're going to talk a little bit about the power of language and then uncover some of your natural gifts. So now you guys are also going to get some success sheets. And essentially, these are some worksheets that you can take away and work through. Obviously, to create success in anything that you do, you have to do the work. We will send you through these after the webinar. You can either use them digitally or print them out and put them into a binder. And what I recommend is giving yourself like 2 lots of 30 minutes to complete them. Relax and do the best you can. If you want to get Adobe Reader to edit it, you can, or you can just print them out and do it by hand. But give yourself space and time to do this because you deserve it. And getting very clear about these things will send you in a trajectory that sometimes you can't even believe it's happening because you've just put that intention into moving forward. The other thing you want to do is aim for improvement, not for perfection when you go about achieving what you want. And I guess that's why I'm really passionate about the joy of progress. And that example that I gave you about the journey to get my pro card, it really was about going after it. And sometimes done is better than perfect. Beware of IDCA, which is a really bad disease called I know that already. Try to approach your goals with a sense of challenge, a sense of joy, and a sense of play. Try not to get too bogged down in, what could go wrong. Schedule time for yourself. This is something that even I need to work on today, but it's about prioritizing your own space, time, and goals. And be prepared to let go of what's not working. And sometimes we hang on to what's not working because we're getting something out of it. And a lot of times it's keeping us in a safe place. So if something's not working and we're still doing it, it's probably a protection mechanism. And we have to be ready to let that go. And I guess in a way, take a leap of faith. So that's how you're going to get the most out of this workshop. And I guess get the most out of life. So what is success? Well, that looks different to every single human being on the planet. And ultimately what people really want is to feel significant. They want a sense of significance, and getting that means different things to different people. For example, some people feel significant by having a multi-million-dollar business. Some people feel significant by, traveling to remote countries and, working with underprivileged children. Some people do it by, achieving something in sports. Some people get significance from carrying around a Gucci handbag. So ultimately, success is a way around, how you define your significance. And I guess culturally, what we associate success with is a lot of time is achievement. So it's like, what have you done? Have you climbed the corporate ladder? Have you gotten the promotion? Are you in the corner office? Are you driving the right car? Do you have the right house? Do you have a holiday home? That type of thing. So what have you achieved? And our society really does reward achievement, and we're really focused on it. And, even if you think back to when you were in school, it's like, did you get the A's? Are you making the grades? Are you at the top of the class? So yeah, achievement, a lot of people will define that as success. And then there's the element of enjoyment. It's like, using your senses to kind of experience what this life has to offer, and taking time to, laugh, let your hair down, and have enjoyment. Now, ultimately, success, and I guess by the same kind of definition, happiness, is when you have a balance of both. So if you think about it, if you've got all achievement and no enjoyment, you're just going to be ticking the boxes, climbing the ladder, and stressing yourself ridiculously to achieve. And if you have all enjoyment, you're not going to feel very fulfilled, because you're going to feel a little bit empty. Well, how are you contributing? So it's about asking yourself, do you have achievement and do you have enjoyment? And ultimately, if you have that combo, you're doing awesome. Now, it might not happen all at once. You might have to work really, really, really hard, put your head down, your bum up to achieve something, so that you can create the space and the freedom for enjoyment. So how you do that, it's completely up to you. So one of the most powerful tools in getting those goals activated is knowing what it is that you actually really want. So this can be sometimes the hardest thing for people to come up with. It's like, well, I know that I want, say, money, or I know that I want, to travel, or, I want my own business, but getting really, really clear about what that is. And a good way to do that is to trust your inner coach. And I call mine Yoda. And Yoda is pretty clever. And if I tune into my Yoda, I can be guided to a direction and focus area that is true to who I am, and will create that momentum. So what I like you to do now is imagine you get an email from your inner coach, and this email arrives to you, and it's 1 year from now. It's 1 year from now, your inner coach has sent you an email, and in that email they say, "Dear Mel, the year is 2020. You have," well, what do you have? Have you opened up your own gym? Have you started an online business? Have you started more group classes? What have you accomplished? Where are you 1 year from now? If you looked around and your ideal situation, where would you be? Who would be there with you? What would you be doing? And what do you notice? So that inner coach is something that, if you give it time and space and you tune into it, is going to get you a really clear path on where you want to go. Now, I encourage you to take a little bit more time to do this, but you'll get reminded of that in your success sheets. Once you take the time to do that, and you get very clear from your inner coach about what you want to create, and that is the really, really cool thing about all this, is that you can actually create. If you can see it, you can create it. So if you really tune into those senses, you're going to get it. Then from there, you want to create your desire statement. So for example, you can say, I want to have an online business that caters to blah, 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 fill in the blank. Or I want to open up my own studio, whatever the case may be. You can do it that way, or you can actually speak as if it does exist already, and that will pull it in a little bit quicker, and you can use the language I have. So for example, I have, 300 subscribers to my online site, whatever it is. And I get time to exercise, and I get time to spend time with friends and give back to the community, and I'm earning whatever it is that you want to earn. Get really granular with that statement, because that is going to be the universe's way of you starting to create what you want. Now, of course, success, the destination to success is never a straight line. And I'm sure you can all relate to trying to go after something, trying to accomplish something, and it seems like you just get thrown these obstacles. It's like, what else can I have go wrong? Something, the finances might not be there. Your partner might not agree. You could, if you're going to rent something, the lease could fall through. There's all of these crazy obstacles that you will encounter along the way. And it's perfect and it's great to be forward facing and driven. But if you're not conscious and bring awareness to the journey that you're on with an element of acceptance, you're going to get to that destination and feel unfulfilled, and you're going to miss out on what's happening right now in front of you. So when we talk about our goal setting, we have performance goals. So that's like what you will do. I will open 2 new studios. I will sign up something. So whatever your goal is, I will, enter a triathlon and win. So that's your performance goal. And that's where most of society is focused on the outcome. What can you do? But the other side of the coin is the being goal. So how are you going to be while you're going for that goal? What's your choice about how you show up every day? How do you want to be represented when you're out there in the world? Who do you want to be? And that is a choice. And oftentimes we get credit for being busy and having a lot on, and it's like this currency of just being really busy. Well, how do you want to be? Do you want to be aware and accepting, and do you want to have time for enjoyment? Do you want to be positive, or do you want to be pessimistic? So it's kind of like, how do you want to show up? It's great that you're going somewhere. It's great that you're getting something, but hey, hang on, life is happening while you're trying to achieve it. So I know for a fact that you guys have seen some SMART goals, and there is a lot of merit in that. When I talk about creating that desire statement, you need to be very specific about what it is that you're going after. For me, when I was going to turn professional, I was going after the pro card. Perhaps I wasn't specific enough. I could have actually won had I been more specific. So it's got to be very specific. Of course, it needs to be measurable. It needs to be achievable, but it also needs to be appealing. So when you think about yourself, for example, let's say opening your studio, is it appealing? When you imagine yourself there and you've got your clients and you've got your staff and your team members, does that energize you? Because if it doesn't energize you, it's probably not a good goal. Is it realistic? Of course, we know what that means. Is it time sensitive? We know what that means. But when you think about it, do you have enthusiasm? Are you enthusiastic? Does it energize you? Is it natural? So is it a natural goal for you? Or is it a goal that someone has put in your head? Or is it a goal that your partner thinks you should accomplish? Or is it a goal that you think you should do because you live in a certain neighborhood and therefore you should drive a certain car? Is it truly natural to who you are? Is it understood? Is it understood? Do you understand exactly what it's going to take? Have you thought about that and broken that down? Not only yourself, but also the people around you. Do they understand what you may experience on your journey to achieve your goal? And I guess the other point I'll make about it being understood is that oftentimes we want to share our goals and we're super motivated by them. And if you guys are anything like me, I get really, energized, enthusiastic about my goals, and I run around telling everyone. Well, the reality is that some people, not everybody is on your side, and not everybody wants to see you achieve your goals, whether it's on a conscious level or an unconscious level. You have to understand who is going to be your cheerleader. And if you know people within your realm that maybe they're the naysayers, or maybe they shoot holes in your ideas, or maybe they, like me when I was doing my competitions, all those people that continuously told me I couldn't. Maybe we don't need to share it with everyone. Maybe you need to keep your goals for your cherished, closest people who lift you up. And then, are you prepared? So what do you have to do? So are you prepared to make some sacrifices? Are you prepared to say, forgo all the nice dinners so maybe that you can save up money for a deposit for something? Are you prepared to, eat differently? Are you prepared to maybe lose sleep? Are you prepared to work longer hours? Have you thought about it? So that's a slight difference to SMART goals is the SMART NUP goals. We just added a few more. Now, here's some statistics from the Harvard Business Studies. And this just talks about goal setting compared to earnings. And you can see that in terms of earnings, 3% of workers earn 10 to 30 times the basic wage. And look at the direct correlation to goal setting. So 3% have very clear written and graphic goals. On the bottom, if you have a look, 27% of workers earn below basic and are dependent on some form of social security, and 27% of people have no idea where they're going, what they're doing, and their approach to life is that things kind of happen to them that they have no control. So I always find that quite interesting. I'm not sure if you guys, in terms of focus, have heard of the Pareto principle or the 80-20 principle, but it's pretty powerful in terms of how you spend your energy. And we all have natural gifts and talents, which if we use our natural gifts and talents, we will bring the most value to our business, to our family, and to the world. Or if we're trying to do something that we're not naturally good and talented at, it's going to be very frustrating and people won't trust us to do that. An example of that for me, growing up in school, math. Shocking, horrible. Just couldn't get my head around it. I had tutors and, people staying after school and, people were trying to hammer the numbers into my head. And I was like, this, I'm not going to get this. It's not going to happen. And so for years, I beat myself up about not being good with math. And I kept trying to, maybe if I just try a little harder or try a different way. And it never happened for me. And for years, I literally was negative on myself, down on myself. And I thought that I was an idiot because I couldn't get math. Well, now in my infinite wisdom and all of my learnings, I realized that that's just not the way that my brain works. And so me trying to get better at something that will never happen is what we call futile zone. So that means I'm going to run into a lot of problems if I stick trying to do something that I'm not naturally good at. Whereas if I use my natural gifts and talents, I'm going to get 80% of success from that. So less effort required because I'm in flow, because it's my natural gift and my talent. And much more success created with less effort and energy. It's kind of like being in a flow state, and it's a little bit like a riverbed. It's the path of least resistance, but I get the greatest result. So I guess what you want to think about is within your goals, what you're trying to accomplish, what are your natural gifts and talents? And are you utilizing them and leveraging off them? Are you banging your head trying to get good at something that you may get marginally better at, but you will never get into flow in? So that's something to think about in terms of when you go to work on your goals. Are you beating yourself up for something that you're never going to get better at? And that brings us to how we kind of approach our energy. And there's an old and a new paradigm in terms of this. So the old paradigm is that we would manage time, avoid stress. We used to think that downtime was wasted time, that we should be, busy all the time, and that life was a marathon. So it's just about keep going, keep going, keep going. Avoid stress, manage your time. How many times have you heard someone say, you know what, you just manage your time a bit better? Well, how can you manage time? It keeps going. I'm not managing it. I have no control over it. There's 24 hours in a day. How do I manage that? I have no idea. And then the new approach is about managing your energy, managing the state that you're in. What energy, we talked about how you want to show up in the world. What kind of energy do you want to bring? When do you need a break? And what do you do to get yourself into that ideal state? You want to seek eustress. So eustress is that kind of when I talked in the beginning about a goal should scare you a little and excite you a lot. That's a great example of eustress because it gives you enough kind of energy and push to take the leap of faith. You want to find those little challenges that make you just that little bit uncomfortable, but is the right thing, and you just want to go for it, seek it out. We know that downtime is productive time. So I don't know how many times you guys have probably had some problems or challenges and you sit down and you're looking at your laptop and you're trying to figure it out and I just cannot crack this problem. Your energy starts to get drained. You just keep focusing on the problem and you never come up with a resolution. Then you're walking down by the water, or you're in the shower, or you've gone somewhere with your friends and you're on your way home, and all of a sudden, boom, light bulb moment. So that's that creative energy. And now we realize that our downtime is our most productive time, our most creative time, when we get the answers to those problems. And life is a series of sprints. So we're going to go really hard after something, and then you need to recover. And it's kind of like, I guess, when I look at life, it's a little bit like high intensity interval life is really how we approach things. We go hard for really what we want, and then we need to recover. Otherwise, we will burn out. Now, this is around language and the language that we use with ourselves. And, I had not an argument with a discussion with someone the other day about semantics. And they said, oh, it's just semantics. And I thought, is it? Is it just semantics, or is language a little bit more powerful than that? So, I'm sure that you guys have had clients or worked with people where the language that they used was a little bit kind of stress inducing. So they would say things like, I should do this, or I have to do that, or I ought to. And all of those words imply that there's no choice. Like, you have to do it. I have no choice. I have to do it. And in a way that stimulates a stress response, because the reality is you're putting yourself into a corner. And it's like, if you don't want to eat chocolate and you say, I can't eat chocolate. No, I'm not going to eat chocolate. I just happen to have a box of dark chocolate thins right here, don't I? And the more you resist, the more it will persist. So we want to change our language because that opens up the flow of energy. And so we want to be an active participant in our life, not a victim. And if you simply change your language to using words like choose, or I will, or I've decided to, then you'll realize that everything that you do is a choice. And that once you realize that, it kind of opens a lot of things up for you. So just be aware of your language along your journey to achieve your goals. So, it's funny too when people say they don't have time. I love that. I love when people talk about how busy they are and that they don't have time. And it's almost like if you just change your language to, say, for example, you said, I don't have time to exercise. And you change your language to say, I choose to prioritize my time and do something different. Or exercise is not a priority for me right now. That would really change the way that you look at it, because you would realize you're just not prioritizing it. Because we all know that if it's important, we find a way to do it. So we want to be an active participant in our lives, which, guess what? I know that you guys all are that. So along the way, we talked about, appreciate your being goals. So how are you going to be? And it's really important because we can be so forward focused that we take some time off and we have what I call happiness islands in our schedule. So these are moments within your week or your month or your day that you're putting something back into the tank. And it might be catching up with a friend. It could be going out to dinner. It could be getting a massage. It could be working out. So make sure that you're scheduling some of these happiness islands along the way. And in terms of your being goal, if you want to be, happy and positive and you want to feel energy, this is really going to assist you with that. So if you were to look at your calendar, say last week, and you were to review your calendar, how many happiness islands did you have in there? Well, did you have any moments that you were putting stuff back in? That's always a good question. So there's, along the way, we have 5 fears, which are going to get us in the way of accomplishing our goals. Obviously, fear is not a very productive state. A fearful state constricts us and limits us and narrows our focus and prevents us from seeing opportunities. So we want to get out of the fear state. So there's a few different types of fear. We have career terror. And that's a feeling that your job is on the line. We've got perfectionism. And a lot of people suffer from this. It's an obsessive devotion to flawlessness. And guess what? You will never be perfect. There's panic, which is your own negative voice in your head. You've got avoidance, which is sabotaging yourself. You keep putting it off and then eventually you're not going to do a good job. And then there's trauma, so negative emotions from the past experience. So there's different types of a fear that can impact you. I guess the important thing is to be aware of, what am I fearful of? What's the thought that's making me fearful? And then really just putting that thought on trial. Is this true? I'm going to really screw up this presentation. Everybody's going to hate it. Well, if you trace that thought back, where does it come from? And is it true? Where's the evidence that everybody's going to hate it? How do you know? Have you got a crystal ball? So just being aware of that. So we'll talk a little bit about your gifts. So we all have natural gifts. And I mentioned before about using that Pareto principle, using things that you're naturally talented at. I'm a qualified flow consultant, and that is really just about helping people find their natural gifts and talents and getting into flow. And there's 8 different types of flow dynamics. And if you know which one you are, then you will be able to use those gifts and talents in a way that's going to help you reach your goals a lot faster. So there's 8 different types there. And if you guys would like some more information about that afterwards, I can definitely help you out. But just know that you're either introverted, extroverted, you're either a starter, you're a finisher, you either love people or you love tasks, and then there's variations within that. And then once you identify who you are, you know exactly the types of activities that you can do to leverage the value that you give. All right. So what is a success strategy? You want to set your 3-month goal and know your outcome. You want to get obsessed about it, focus on it continually. You need to believe that you can do it. It's possible. And guess what? You deserve it. You have to know why you want it. You need to take action towards it, but also allow it to come to you. So don't be so forward driven and motivated to get to that end goal that you don't see opportunities that are actually right in front of your face. Continually monitor, notice what's working and what's not, and you keep changing your approach until you get that goal. And at the end of the day, you need to maintain a psychology and a physiology of excellence. That is how you do it. So guys, thank you very much for attending and actually spending this time with me today. I really appreciate that. So we do have, if you enjoyed this webinar and you would like some access, we have a new membership on offer. So we're offering our founding members a 30-day free trial. You get business training, technical training, personal development, discounted courses. You get your business listing on our PT Business Directory. And you get access to an exclusive closed Facebook group. And we got some really cool people on there as well. You get a regular calendar to webinars and events and templates and tools to fast track your success. So there's a lot on offer, and it is an exciting time for us in the industry, because what we want to do is we want to bring together the top minds and the top communities, and we want to provide you guys with exceptional value that's going to really help you at the end of the day achieve your goals. All right. So if you guys want any more information, just shoot me an email. It's mel@ptacademy.edu.au. And this particular webinar is being recorded and will get sent back to you. You will also get your success sheets to take some time and actually review this. And I look forward to hearing about your success stories. So if you guys could please let me know how you're going, or if you had any questions. I really, really appreciate your time that you spent with me, and I hope that you got something out of this that you can action within the next 7 days, so that you can really activate your goals. Thank you, and have an awesome day.